May 11th, 2022 meeting of the Merriweather County Board of Commissioners. At this time, we'd like to ask if you have any cell phones or other electronic devices, if you would just silence those for the remainder of the meeting. Please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Let us pray. Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for another day that you've given us. We thank you again that we have the opportunity to come together and take care of the business of the county. And dear Lord, as we always do, we just ask that you guide our thoughts, our words, our actions, that what we do will be pleasing to you and in the best interest of all of us who live in this county. We thank you for everyone who is present today. We ask for safe travels back to their respective places. And we pray these things in your name. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we adopt the agenda, we have a couple of changes. One change under new business, we need to add number 8, and that is to approve the agreement with the City of Warm Springs and Merriweather County Detention Center for the inmate agreement, and this is because of a change in mayor. Are there any other changes? Hearing none, can we have a motion to approve? Second? Second. All in favor? Next, we have the finance report. Mr. Bill.
We're going to adopt the agenda. We did. Yes.
Madam Chair, you've got several reports in front of you. First one is the bank balances. General fund still remains strong. I will note that that'll drop by about $600,000 this month due to the general fund paying their portion of the LMIG cost for road paving. Next report is the SPLOST and T-SPLOST reports. First page, you'll see the Department of Revenue distribution and then the split between the counties and the cities. And I might add that on the next page, down at the bottom, you see the $151,000 for the county's portion. That's the largest receipt we have to date on SPLOST, which is very encouraging, by about $10,000. Next page is the T-SPLOST information, the Department of Revenue distribution and the split between the counties and the cities. Next page, down at the bottom, you'll see the $125,928, and again, that's the largest receipt we've gotten so far from the Department of Revenue, and we're real excited about that. Hope that continues. That was for the month of, excuse me, it's the month of April. So we've got the busy summer months to go, and they should be even better. The next report is the quarterly budget analysis, and with 50% remaining in the line items for the budget, almost all of the departments are at or under budgets with the exception of a couple of them, and Michelle and I will be talking with them to see where they're going and how we might expect them to end up by the end of the year. But we're watching that. And let me see. And the last report I gave you was just preliminary report on basically what we spent on T-SPLOST, SPLOST, and the ARP funding. And I just compiled that yesterday afternoon, brought it up to date. So give that to y'all for to look over. If you got any questions with that, you can get back in touch with me. And I got a call from the auditors yesterday afternoon, and they're close to the finish line on the audit, and hopefully we'll be able to present that to y'all at the morning meeting in June.
Who came up with this ARP list? Who came up with this ARP list?
Let me pull that out.
I mean, we don't have to go over who.
Okay, I can briefly get that. The first report is the SPLOST report, and that was developed from meeting with all departments head, constitutional officers, and the Board of Commissioners over several years. The T-SPLOST report is items paving roads and various pieces of equipment that were moved from the SPOS report to the T-SPOS if they would qualify. The Arp report is basically the items that would qualify for the Arp guidelines if the board so chooses to use Arp funds to fund that with. They came from, again, they came from the SPOS list as well. And the only funds the board is committed to were the network improvements and the internet cybersecurity.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Bill, was that all? I'm sorry.
That's it, thank you.
Thank you. Do you have anybody sign up for citizen comment?
No, ma'am.
We'll move on to the minutes. We have the minutes from the April 26, 2022 regular meeting. We've had a chance to look over these minutes. Are there any changes or corrections that need to be made?
Hearing none, I make a motion to approve.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Under appointments, we'll take them one by one, but we're gonna need to table. Can I have a motion? I'm making a motion to table number 1, the Water and Sewage District 5. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Number 2, appointment, we would like to make a recommendation to table that to our June 8th meeting. Make that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Now, all in favor? Same with number 3, table it to our June 8th meeting. I'll make that in the form of a motion.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Thank you.
Get it done in just a minute.
Under unfinished business, we have the insurance proposal. I'm not sure who's, Michelle, is that you or?
Well, this was brought to you all last meeting. I'm hoping you guys had an opportunity to look at it. Bill can go into the finance portion of it. NFP was unable to get any decrease by Blue Cross Blue Shield. So the numbers stay as they were last meeting. Okay, they are also online if you guys have questions.
Any commissioners have questions?
I don't, I've had
We've
time
had
to
a
read it.
chance to read over everything. All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
I make a motion to accept as a presented.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
We do need to discuss the funding and how we're going to break it down, employee and county, and Bill can kind of go over that again.
I gave you a multi-page spreadsheet on the employee costs and the county cost of the last 4 or 5 years. And they remain pretty steady. Up until 2020, 2021, when we raised the employees portion to $113.25, and it stayed that way for a couple of years. Now, what the board needs to decide is to on the last page,
Hold on,
last
Bill, we
couple of
don't even
pages.
have it in front of us.
I don't see that.
We did not provide a copy in this agenda. It was from last agenda. Did you make more copies?
I did not.
Would you like for us to get a copy of that so everybody can see it now?
Is it many pages? Is it
I
just the
think
one?
it's,
Just copy
This
the
is
last
it.
couple of pages if Allison to
it.
do that.
the insurance brokers
Well, it's just the breakdown from Bill as far as the,
right here.
yes.
But I can give you,
Y'all look at that one, though.
Do y'all have one, everybody?
Yes, y'all can run that one. Okay, we got it.
All right.
but
And I guess the most, right here,
Go ahead, Lee.
all right, let's return to the page.
one more page.
All right, the cost per employee is going up for the county from $652.54 to $737.37. What the board needs to decide this morning is how much, if any, do we want to pass that increase along to the employees? What we've been, the split in the past has been about 17% for the employee and the rest of the county. If we stayed with that, the employees portion would go up from $113.25 to $128.01. If we split the amount, employees portion would go up to $198.08 over the $113.25. Oh, I'm sorry, that's if the employee absorbed the whole cost. If they split it with the county, it'd be $155.67.
So from 113.25 to one,
This is the split.
This is what, if we just keep it the same percentage, this is what it will. If we go 50%, do that, and they do the entire increase.
I think there is a consensus among the staff that due to the state of the economy right now, with the inflation rate as high as it is, gasoline prices, grocery prices, et cetera, and given I've got some preliminary numbers from the auditors, and our fund balance is going to increase by over $1 million for last year. I think our consensus is that we maybe hold the line at 113.25, but that's just a recommendation from us.
and what would that increase the county's portion annually to? From what to what?
$1.3 million to $1.4 million.
So it's only going up 100,000?
Correct.
What's left of our
About
portion.
121,000 a year.
But on the page where it's where if we keep it at the 17.36%, that is 128 per month.
128.01 per month.
Per month.
That's about $12, $13 a month increase.
And what were we paying originally?
Of that $737.37, the county will pay $609, and the employee will pay $128.01.
Okay, so employees, we're paying 113. If we keep it
Correct.
the same percentage, they're gonna pay $15 more a month.
Correct, or $750 basically a pay period.
I mean, I understand about all the inflation and stuff, but that is still a small amount to pay for
Yes, ma'am.
insurance. And, I mean, to even, that's per month.
Yeah, the
$15
128.01 is per month, right.
Additional. I mean, just the way that the insurance has gone up, I don't know what the other commissioners think, but I just thought we need to go to the 120, keep it at the same percentage. We're not gonna ask them to pay percentage wise anymore, but I don't know if we can absorb the whole increase. It's not-
Well, I agree. I mean, we're not going up on anybody's property tax, and I wouldn't vote for that. So the only reason we're getting increased amount is because of the houses that are being built and the increase in value, but we're not getting anything more, but we're eating up more.
I mean, to pay $128 a month for your health insurance is cheap.
That's a good deal.
That's
It
good. I
really
mean,
is, yeah.
That's almost unheard of. I mean, there may be a few companies out there that pay 100%, but there's not.
I don't think there's very many governments that are doing that.
I just don't. Michelle, you have any comment?
Whatever the pleasure of the board is for this.
128 sounds comparable. I mean, I have no problem with that.
I don't either.
All right, so we've got a motion to accept and a second, when the discussion would be, if I'm hearing what everybody's saying, is the employee portion would be 128.01.
Just the employees' portion would stay at the same percentage it
Stay at
is
the
currently.
same percentage.
And you need to-
Percentage-wise, okay, that's true.
And you need to mention
Depends on what you have, that's
And you
right.
need to mention Anchor, Blue Cross Blue Shield in your motion too, Ms. Roseland.
All right, we're gonna make your motion to accept from Anthem Blue
Okay.
Shield, Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Anthem, I amend my motion to accept the NFP insurance proposal for the employee at 128.01 or 17.36 and
Employees' portion to remain the same percentage as they are now.
get to, okay,
With Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Anthem Blue Shield.
All right.
Yes,
we
ma'am.
have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Is that clear as mud?
Thank you, Board.
There's none. Thank you. All right, we're moving on to new business. We have the Enrichment Service Program. Ms. Dorsey is gonna give an update on services provided to Merriweather County. Hey, how are you?
Good morning. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to come and share some information with you about enrichment services. There is information in your packet. And the first item is a one-page overview of Enrichment Services Program. We are a community action agency that has been providing services since 1965. However, we only started providing services here in Merriweather County in 2020. So if you look at the one-page overview, you'll notice our vision, which is every family is thriving and engaged in the community. And our mission is we want to empower families to thrive through quality education services and partnerships. We provide services in 10 counties in Georgia and Russell County in Alabama. On the next document, you'll notice the services that we are actually providing in Merriweather County, and that is Early Head Start and Head Start. We do have a board representative for Merriweather County, and that is Dr. Tom Canning Skinner. And you'll notice the location that we have currently for the early childhood services, and that is on Moreland Street. Next school year, we are looking at adding another location here in Merriweather County, and that would be in Luthersville. The next document will show you that currently we have 22 employment positions here in Merriweather County. And during the 2020-2021 year, we expended $829,822 for the early childhood services, and we were able to serve 58 families during this time. So 58 children and their families. And then the last document that I just want to highlight for the same period of 2020-2021, throughout all of our service area, we were able to help 1,269 children gain school readiness skills, 12 individuals received employment training, 6,963 households received energy assistance through the heating assistance and cooling assistance, and 2,035 families or households received food boxes on a monthly basis. One of the things that we track are the number of families moving toward and to self-sufficiency. So during this period, 182 families actually made progress toward self-sufficiency, but as you know, this was during the pandemic. So families encountered more barriers and challenges, but we are still proud that there were 182 that made progress. And when we talk about self-sufficiency, we're talking about families being able to take care of their basic needs without public or private assistance. Are there any questions that I can answer for you?
I have one. Are you connected with Kathy?
So Kathy is our sister agency.
Okay.
So they are providing the other services that we don't provide here in Merriweather County.
So Kathy doesn't do the Head Start?
Not anymore.
I mean, they did it at one time, then I thought they went back to it a year or two ago.
So they're providing early Head Start and Head Start services from Noonan up to Carrollton. Okay. And then we took the other part of the service area, which is Merriweather, Truth, and Harris.
Anybody else have any questions? Well, thank you.
Well, we would ask that you help us get the word out about the services that we are providing to early Head Start and Head Start children and their families.
Okay, now this is, where are the Head Start programs? Are they still in the same place?
So right now we do have one, like I said, on Moreland Street, and then we will have one next year in Luthersville.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, number 2 will be the revision of the Merriweather Service Delivery Strategy.
Madam Chair and Board, this was as a request from Manchester. This is an additional service to be added to the SDS. It's for housing revitalization. There's a resolution as well as the forms required to add this to the SDS.
Okay, does anybody have any questions?
And allow the chair to sign.
Okay.
With the exception of Gay and Lone Oak, all municipalities will need to sign this, so we'll
Okay.
pass that word along as well.
Okay, I see them all listed there except for them. Can we have a motion to approve this revision and allow the chair to sign?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next will be the River Code Road culvert replacement.
Mr. Bill Clawthorne is here to go over this. There are some pictures that are in your packet, as well as an overview of this.
Madam Chairman and Board of Commissioners. I'm bringing this before you today. The existing culverts there are in really bad shape. We've been kind of piecemealing them along for a couple of years. And I don't know if you've got the pictures in your packet that kind of shows they're rusted out. They're actually too small to handle the drainage basin in that area. So what I'm requesting is that if we could go ahead and approve to get out in front of these things, order the pipe, and then I'm also proposing to have Piedmont Paving build us a head wall, prefabbed head wall, where we can set the head wall and set the pipes, and the county do the majority of the work. And Piedmont was a low bid on 2 other projects for the head walls. One on Owens Road, which there's a picture of there in the back, and then a finished picture with a little graffiti on it, but that's what I'm bringing for y'all.
Is this not the same one that washed out and we replaced years ago?
Pardon?
It washed out and we did rid of the place that we did what we could. But it does need to be something done, and what he's saying on the head wall is the solution to that.
Yeah, I understand that. I just thought we had replaced part of this.
One of the things is getting the materials and the time it takes to order something and get it, so I'm requesting approval for this amount of money to kind of move forward, get the pipes ordered, get the process started, and possibly replace this culvert this summer.
Lord Jesus. Like $70,000. Is that? what is it?
That's with the county doing the majority of the work other than the prefabbed head wall.
Yeah, it says, well, it said the head walls.
Head wall's about 28,000, the pipe's about 28,000. And some miscellaneous rock and paving.
Well, something you got on here, the change orders for 7185.
That's for the fire station. That's the next.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that'd be my
Go
next.
one page up.
My bad. Madam Chair, I think we should go ahead and approve and get it done.
All right, and where would this 70,000 come from? Mr. Bill, do we have? Okay.
Where do we have the most money and the least coming out?
Auburn T-Splosh, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, we've done.
I mean, if the next big rain that hits, it may wash the road out. Kind of why I'd like to get ahead of it, if possible.
All right, can you amend your motion to say to be paid for through T-Splosh?
Yes, ma'am, I'll make a motion, we'll go ahead and approve, pay for it through T-Splosh.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Thank you, Mr. Bill. All right, next is change order number 1 for Merriweather County Fire Station number 1.
This change order is in the amount of $71.85. During the site work process of project, there were several areas that did not pass. Mr. Cawthorn can go into greater detail if you have any questions. The report is included for you to look over, but this is to get us into compliance.
Does anybody have any questions?
I just know this is the first change order. We'll
Yes.
anticipate others, but
I really don't.
you think this is it?
It's going very smoothly. With the exception, we just, you really didn't know what was in that field there where we have the site. And we don't know what kind of material was hauled in and out before we started the process. And I ran some numbers on the square footage, and in material cost to do this repair, and it seems feasible. I came up with like $6,800.
All right, any other questions? All right, do we have a motion regarding the change order?
I make a motion to approve the change order as presented in the amount of $7,185.
All right, do we have a second? All in favor? Thank you. All right, the 2022 resurfacing contract. I guess you just stay up here with us.
All right, we have before you a recommendation to approve the 2022 resurfacing program. Again, this year, same as last year, we solicited bids from many contractors and went on the Georgia procurement site for the state of Georgia. And when the proposals were all due in, we only received one proposal, which was from Piedmont Paving. So, and the total bid amount was $1,435,082.91. Is about $181,320 above our estimate when we put the LMIG together. Looking at their prices, their unit prices have gone up just about in every area. Our recommendation is to approve the.
Let me ask you this. I know we had some road failure from the last paving, and of course Piedmont, they had subcontracted out to somebody.
That's right.
Has all of that been corrected yet?
Hadn't been corrected. We had a consultant come in, look at it, and he recommended we wait till it got hot, like late May and June, and then they're coming back to fix those roads.
But it was, obviously, it was more than one. I know it was several, right?
When will this start?
Graham.
When would they start on the resurfacing bill?
I'm not sure on this one. I'll check and see today and give you an answer. I feel like it'll be pretty soon.
I'd like to make a motion to table it until Piedmont has the third party or themselves come in and correct what's already out there that failed last year, and determine if they do move forward, and at that point, make a decision.
Only thing is, we didn't get the one bid.
I know, but
Exactly.
I know that, but still, if they
Yeah,
hadn't,
I mean, really, it's been going on for a while. I mean, they really do need to get
yeah, this isn't the first time.
those roads corrected, the ones that we had the failure.
Yeah, and we have not paid them for that process. We're holding that money.
I'm gonna make a motion to table this until we have the corrections done on the previous ones from Piedmont Paving,
When's the latest that we can get this?
until they fix it.
Till they finish the other
Yeah,
one.
because you said they're coming at the end of the month to do it, so I'd like to have this brought back to us next month, because I don't want to award something for the same company that it wasn't on them, but a third party they hired had a failure with the last surfacing. I just don't want to do that.
Should I throw the fly in the ointment?
No?
We went out and checked Forest Road last week, and Forest Road really needs a lot of work. And really, it goes more than just the 3 miles in District 2. It goes all the way up to the Coweta County line. But Forest, just looking at the 3 miles that needs to be the full depth reclamation from Cousins up to the city limits of Lone Oak, we're looking at $1,526,870. And then Mr. Bill gave me some numbers on what we can do full patch, full depth reclamation patch in 5 areas, and we're looking at $337,000. Now with that, King Road is on the resurfacing list for District 2. We're going to need to make some changes on that. So in order to get Forest Road addressed, we do need to make changes with the LMIG list, and then we'll probably need to come back with additional funding for Forest.
So why don't we
Am I
just table
correct?
it today and come back?
So, well, my question is, do we want to do this all at one time? when we approved the LMIG list.
It's easier to approve every road you want done at one time than it is to piecemeal it and have these in this minutes, this in these minutes, and
I'm
this in
saying,
this.
if we're gonna have to change some of these
Right.
anyway, we don't need to approve it for these
Yeah.
roads anyway. If we're gonna have to make changes and pick up Forest, because it's not on there.
Forest is not, no.
Not on the
Forest is
list.
not.
So
What-
my motion still stands to.
I think what Commissioner Plant's suggesting is sort of like what happened last year, we took Mount Carmel Road, and then it was changed to Turkey Trail, and, in lieu of doing Mount Carmel. And I think what Commissioner Plant wants to do is, instead of doing King, put that money towards the safety patches. in
Right.
Forest.
All right, how long does this bid good for?
I'm not sure. I don't know how long they'll hold these prices.
Could you get us an answer from the paving company by our next meeting, our night meeting of this month, and we just
So it'll
table
just
this
be
until
2
that point,
weeks?
and then we can discuss the changes and bring it back before us?
I can try to do that now.
And then make sure that they understand whether or not it's going to be the deep patches and the total number, or if we're gonna balance out.
Yeah, I think we can work that out. That would be something the board would have to decide. If you want to stay at the amount they bid on King and use that, or if you want to increase it. The problem with Forest Road, there being 3 miles, you've got 2 very severe areas that are pretty dangerous, and then 3 other areas that are in pretty bad shape. But that will not fix Forest Road. It's just to make it
It's a patch.
safer to drive.
All right, I think it does, need further discussion
So-
and, decide what we're gonna do. So can we just have a motion to table this to our May 24th meeting?
Motion's on the
Oh,
table.
I'm sorry. Have a second.
Second.
All in favor? All right, thank you.
All right, thanks.
All right, number 6, Public Safety Communications Tower.
Madam Chair and Board, I have Bryn here, who is the Director of 911 and EMA, as well as Chief Deputy Hadley, to discuss the issues with the current lack of communications tower and all of the areas. I did hand out an estimate to you all, and I know there is probably sticker shock with this estimate, but I would like them to come to the podium and explain the issues that they are currently having with the existing system.
Okay.
Morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Over the last few years, tend to be exact, we've been trying to improve our communication system as we go. Unfortunately, in March, we had our radio tower at Station 1 torn down by a vehicle that pulled through there, and we had to relocate the fire equipment that was there to the sheriff's office repeater. They were very cooperative in doing this, and in doing so, we've actually affected their system as well as decreased our output at the fire department, because the elevation there is about 100 feet lower than what it is over at Station 1. But I'm going to let Chief Hadley talk about a little bit how their system has gone down over the last few months.
Thank y'all for the opportunity just to do it. Our main concern is safety for our personnel. We're in situations to where there's no absolute out here, and I understand that we're not gonna have radio coverage everywhere, but the amount of coverage that we're getting radio-wise has went down tremendously. I tested it the other day and didn't have clear service till I got in city limits agreement from Warm Springs. Previous, I could talk all the way from Manchester on the central band. I don't know the ins and outs of the radios and the frequency. I'm not here for that, and not here to grind an axe. I don't talk on the radio as much as our guys do, and we've got situations where just in the last couple of months, they've had foot chases, had to tussle with the individuals out there, and we're not getting out. They can't call out, and 911 does a check on them, status check. If we're just going to respond to a location, let's say it's a non-priority call, 911's going to do a status check on those deputies, which is what should be done in the way it should be done in that process. But they're not receiving the information through their radio. They're not hearing it. They're not able to talk on the portables. And in that same process, we're having to divert other deputies to go check on that deputy because that's a priority. Safety of our personnel is very important, and I think y'all can understand that. I come up in a time in law enforcement of doing this for a long period of time where sometimes you didn't have a radio and you had your base unit in your car. But when you can't even talk when your base unit in your car, you got a problem. And put it in simple terms for you, everybody here has probably seen Charlie Brown and you listen to the teacher talk to Charlie Brown on the phone. That's about what it sounds like. And I'm not over exaggerating to a certain degree, because the other day I did a test all the way up on the radio system, and it was so much static and back feed through there. It was terrible. Very hard to hear. I'm not saying that money is a fix-all for anything, and I'm not trying to say, if we need to get somebody from the outside to look at our system and see if there's something better that can be done or offered or whatever, and I don't know exactly what y'all's proposal is on. Our people just need to be able to communicate and use those radios, because that's their lifeline. And I think everybody here understands how important safety is for me, especially in the sheriff's office and the sheriff himself, but also just in the times we're living right now. So that's basically all I need to say in a nutshell. Appreciate y'all's time and listening.
Thank you, Colonel. I also brought the chief and assistant chief here because basically they agree they're kind of experiencing the same issues, because what has happened was both towers were 180 foot. The difference was Station 1 had 100 feet better elevation. So they were doing okay. The sheriff's office, has always kind of been fighting this battle. Now we've put the fire repeater on there and an antenna on there, which is shielding them some of the traffic going out to where it's decreased it. This was always supposed to be temporary. We did get some money back from the other tower. It's nowhere near, especially after we pay the fees that we had for demolishing the old tower and relocating the equipment over here in an emergency, procedure. But what I've done is I've brought Dean Ginn out here, communication specialist, as Byron was recommending, to kind of tell you and explain a little bit about what we're wanting to do here. Dean, if you step up for just a minute. But what we need, especially for the future here, this tower will probably have a 50-year life that we're proposing. In the first phase of this, and I'm saying this is going to be in multi-phases, we'd be able to pretty much put the fire department back with a little bit better, but the sheriff's office will really benefit from this because of the elevation. And the reason we're going with a 330-foot tower is for several reasons. But I'm going to let Dean explain a little bit more, just real briefly, just so in layman's terms, so they can understand it. Go ahead.
Okay. And I appreciate it. Like I said, I am Dean Ginn from Dean's Commercial Two-Way. As Brian and the chief has alluded to, we've basically been doing the communications for Merriweather County for the past 10 years. You were working off two towers here, both being 180 foot, which is bare minimum for coverage of a county like we have in Merriweather County with the topology. It's a lot of county, a lot of rolling hills and so forth. With the loss of the tower out of Station 1, we were in a what do we do moment because we didn't have a backup site. So the sheriff's department allowed us to move those transmitters to his facility. We had to change some antennas around so we could make Greenville's repeater work for the police department as well as the fire department and the SO. So it compromised some of the sheriff's department's capabilities, because now you have 4 different transmitters over there, not in the ideal situation, but we could get them up and working till the fix or the solution came for long-term to replace the tower that was lost. With the location out by the gas pumps, if you put a 330-foot tower in, the net will be that the sheriff's department, as well as all of the other radio users, the fire department and so forth, will be at a better point for receive at 350 feet, which will in turn help your portables and mobiles communicate around the county. This is putting a public safety grade tower in place that the county has needed for many years, that will be the master site for building a communication system for public safety moving forward in the digital arena. We have digital equipment already in place, ready to implement for the sheriff's department, which will help them immediately in the Merriweather County, alleviate some of the channel changing, just make it easier on the users in general. But we didn't have a location to put it because the 2 towers that were out there were already overloaded at best. So when Bryn came to me asking me what the solution is, the starting point is to build a master site in the county. This 330 foot is what we've proposed. As I said, that'll be the phase 1. What you will achieve out of this is better communications from the master site, the ability to link the other sites with microwaves down the road for backhaul. We engineered the tower to support capability of at least 1 cellular carrier. So there's an opportunity down the road. If a cellular carrier wanted to rent space from you guys on the tower, you have an opportunity to recoup some of your cost. That can range anywhere from $1,000 a month to $2,000 a month in revenue. So that capability is built into the structure, but it is very much needed immediately to get the communications back equal to or better than it was prior to the loss of the tower at Station 1. So with that said, I can address or answer any other questions you may have, but
Where exactly, hold on, Brandon, where exactly is the tower going to be at 911?
The plan is right there in the field next down behind the fuel pumps. Being that we already have a structure there that we could use, and just, I mean, at this point, at some point, number one, we're gonna have to do some repairs to it to make it, but, I mean, it's there. I mean, we might as well use it. I mean, you think that's a structure that would be?
would have to look at the orientation once. Let me put a prerequisite out here to what's got to be done to get the tower in there. In your proposal, I put the cost of the structure for the tower to be built. There's prerequisites such as certification of a survey for location for ground elevation, FAA. We have to go to FAA and get it approved. We have to go and have a phase 1 assessment of the property run, as well as a NEPA, which is the historical prevalence group has to do an analysis on it, and then a geotech, which is the underlying ground. So basically, you got about $18,000 worth of work that has to be done before we know that that site has been approved for a 300-foot structure. So I want that to be understood going into it. 330, I'm sorry. With that said, once we get those clearances, then we're clear to put a structure in out there. As far as the building, we could look at that, but the orientation of where the tower is going to be, that structure may need to be moved over to it, or you may need to put a temporary shelter in to get it going. Long term, we need to look at building a hardened shelter or utilizing a cellular grade shelter, because this is going to be the heartbeat of your public safety system. So typically what we like to see is a hardened concrete shelter that will handle protecting your equipment, keeping it heating and cool the way it properly needs to be. The plus by locating it where Brent has proposed is you would have access from the 911 center to bury existing fiber that you have over to that, which is going to help you in the communications once you're able to microwave out to the other site. So it's an ideal location on the county property. I don't think there'll be any issues with any of the prerequisite work that has to be done, but it is stuff that has to be done prior to you ordering structure and getting it ready to go.
Is there a requirement as to the distance that tower has to be to actual 911, or does it matter if it's in the middle of the county?
Not a distance barrier from the 911 center to there. The location of where the tower is at in relationship to talking out to the county, that's a good location. The location by the sheriff's office is a very good location. It's just you don't have enough property up there, space to accommodate the guide wires and the tower. The property there behind the fuel station, it takes an 80% guiding radius, which means you have to be 230 feet from the base of the tower with 3 sets of guide
The reason we
wires.
proposed right there at 911 was just because what he just said, we would be able to fiber out to that tower, and be able to connect directly from the 911 center. So there's benefits to that.
Well, hold on, Brand. So could that tower be 15 miles away from here, and does it have to have the broadband or the fiber ran straight to the main building?
This tower needs to be in close proximity to where it's at now to achieve the coverage in the central part of the county, because the long-term goal here to get you coverage, it takes multi-sites. You can't do it with one site in the county. By improving what you had at the central site here in town and making it a master site at 330 feet, it's going to complement you being able to use the Manchester site via microwave connection to it, the tower at Forest Road that you currently have, possibly the use of the site that was installed up at the industrial park. We're looking at a bigger picture of how you're going to connect these sites down the road. The master site has to be where it's at.
The reason behind my question is we have so many cell phone towers being put up in the county that are over the 330 feet. So friend, can I finish? So my question is, could we not connect to one of those and do away with the cost of a tower? Because they have extra space on all these towers for additional connections.
And it's free space.
Right, I'm just trying to figure out how to save the money for a 330-foot tower.
I think you're going to run into issue. I think if I'm hearing you correctly, you've got most likely an agreement in place with the carriers to co-locate when and where needed on existing sites. I don't know that you've got that capability right here in Greenville to achieve what's needed with the site, to be able to talk into the courthouse, into the jail, all the facilities that are close in, as well as where it'll talk out. The connectivity that you have internally that we're talking about on the fiber is, you have dark fiber, I'm assuming, there at the building that you can vary over to the site, which will, you're gonna have 20, there's gonna be 3, 7, you're probably gonna have about 15 to 20 antennas on this tower, the way it's designed to meet the needs for the 911 center as it is. If you go out to these cellular companies, they're probably only gonna allow you to put one antenna on that tower at no cost. They're not gonna give up the space on that tower for what you're needing. So it's not gonna be achievable, I don't think.
That's what I was trying to say. The elevation they're gonna give us on those cell towers is not gonna meet the needs of what we have to have. Because
give us the top.
Right, because of the elevation of where those towers at. I mean, elevation is very important when you're thinking about this as far as the way the county's set up. And
the real estate on the commercial towers that the cellular group is at, and I deal with this all over. Typically, they're going to look to maybe 1, 2 at the most on antennas. The figures we've put before you guys for the total package here include specially combining equipment for us to be able to combine 7 channels. It's a challenge at best, but still the needs for the 911 as a backup should they go site-wise out. Backup antennas are going to be crucial to have on that tower there.
So I'm sorry.
Let me continue with what Commissioner Threadgill was asking. And when you mentioned the free space we had on the towers, you said it takes something like 15 to 20 antennas to do what you're doing?
We're basically starting out with 4 antennas for the fire and the SO system that is needed. We also are putting the
Now let me get a picture of this. You're talking about 4 separate apparati that's going to be up here on this tower in order to do this.
Correct. With the possibility of 15 to 20.
Wow.
And how many would you have to put antennas or additional link areas throughout the county to be able to receive and see?
Currently, we're using a tower at Manchester in Warm Springs that we have linked with radio older technology. Once you have the master site in and we can use microwaves in the IP world to get to those sites, it's going to improve the operational aspect of how the public safety, whether it be fire or SO, communicates. Right now, they're basically having to channel change to get to the channels at the other sites. Once you have a master site and can do the connectivity, which will come in the secondary phase, that's going to make their life a lot easier. You're not having to use older technology. We've been looking at this for the past 10 years. We've been trying to keep you up to speed, get you where we can, but we didn't have a site here that could get the microwave connectivity back and forth, which when you invest in your own tower, and I know it's a lot of money right there, but rather than having to go and lease fiber to get to Manchester, you can put a microwave on it and you have a one-time fee. Now you've got a permanent connectivity that not only can you back all your public safety communications with radio, but now you can put your IT phones, anything that the county is needing to get from point A to B across this network. You're building a stepping stone for your communication system. You're getting it up at 300 feet, which will improve the talk in, talk out for the public safety as it is. It's much needed. You know, so I'll answer any other questions relative to it, but it's something we've been struggling with for the last 2 years, trying to get better capabilities for you guys, but we just didn't have any height or tower locations to put it on either one of the existing towers. Now, behind everything in the sheriff's, it's creating more of than anything else, and it's decreased costs. We're really need to commitment in your communication systems for the future.
So once this is done, if it is, what additional outside of the tower and what's been spoken about today, where do you think that cost will lie? Because some things aren't included.
Obviously, this is phase one with the master site. Your connectivity would be the next phase, correct me if I'm wrong there, should you wanted to put a microwave between here and Manchester, which would tie you back into the site over at Woodbury for the what we're calling a wide area digital system for the sheriff's department, which we already have the transmitters for. You're probably looking at around, and this is budgetary, I'm sort of off the cuff right here.
I'm not asking for specific, just round.
Software. You said $50,000 to $60,000 for the microwaves each time you have to purchase them. Is sort of an entry level on it. That all in the variables there are based on what heights we have on each end and having it engineered. So that's giving you a budgetary number, and I would really have to come back once we have the master site up and then calculate those. Like I said, the rest of the sites are pretty much in place. You've got opportunity with the site that Diverse has built over at the county line at Troup County and Merriweather County at Mountain. You know, that comes into play, you know, once we have the connectivity. There again, the 180-foot towers, we couldn't see them, so we couldn't connect to them. So it is a stepping stone.
That's a lot of difference, 180 foot and 330.
Absolutely. And that's immediately going to help the sheriff's department, the fire department from day one. That's something I want to emphasize to you. The other thing is the other 180-foot towers that has been, and it was before our time as well as when we picked up and started doing the business 10 years ago. The two towers you had there, everybody had antennas in close proximity to the towers because, one, they were lightweight towers, they were cheap to build, and they were quick. The problem was the antennas were such close proximities, one was competing against the other. So we've never had a true engineered site that is done the proper way. What we're proposing to you is to get that there for the master site. You have a clean antenna system for receive at 330 feet. You have a clean transmitter combiner down at 260. There'll be a world of difference in the effectiveness of this radio system from day one right out of the gate. Then is you will complement yourself by adding the other sites around the county to bring it into the new technology.
So will what 911 has in place currently, technology-wise, and what the sheriff's department office has, and fire and all that, is all of that compatible with what's new, or is all that going to have to be replaced too?
It's compatible. We're basically getting everything back into operation where it's at, but then we're able to go ahead and upgrade the SO channels to simulcast once you go to phase two and put the connectivity piece to it. But yeah, it complements one another. It's basically putting it right back into business. It's getting you back better than where you were at Station 1 and getting these guys where they
I don't think there's any of us up here on this board that would say, no, we don't need to do it because we know they need the connectivity.
Sure.
But we do have to look at the money and see. That's why I was asking. What is the closest 330-foot or above tower to us?
That would be the tower that's behind the gas station.
Yeah, it's true. On the hill right over here. North Depot Street.
This would be a question maybe for Mr. Bill. The company that, or trucking company, whatever, that tore our tower down, did they pay anything?
Never found it.
Never found them.
Didn't run.
So how do we know it was a truck?
Because there was an eyewitness.
There was an eyewitness. I remember
Nursing
that.
home that saw him do it.
And it didn't have they didn't see a tag or a name on the truck company?
It had a color, I believe, is all it was.
All
like-
it was an orange truck.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, I have one more question.
We did follow up on what we had, and we made a contact with a trucking company that did the color scheme of it, and they went through their records and didn't show a truck.
Sure they did.
Whether it is or not.
Schneider Trucking is the most popular orange on orange trucks.
I have an additional question, Madam Chair. It may be partly my eyes, but I think partly our copier's going out. I'm having a lot of trouble reading this proposal. Is this figure that you're saying is your proposal is 274,000?
274 is for the master site itself. I broke it down into 3 estimates for you. They have copies of all 3, or is it
They
just?
do, but I think there were some of them back. Just tell them what the turnkey cost will be.
Right, basically, there were 3 proposals sent to you. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, proposal number 534. The total is $274,070. That basically is the cost of the structure, all in.
There's no shelter, electrical, IT, generator, clearing, or nothing included in
That's
that.
just the tower. There's no fencing, no nothing. That's the tower and the prerequisite requirements that are needed to get it done, civil work and so forth.
That's the only one that has a subtotal.
You come down to estimate 535, which is the antenna system and the combining that we've discussed that we're required to accommodate the 4 or total of 7 channels at that site. That's $95,182.
Added to the original.
Added to it, and then you gotta add this one here.
Now, that's at the bottom, 95,000, right?
Yep.
95,182.65. And then we put in a estimated number for moving antennas from the 911 center over to the new tower. We put in 26,500. That number can vary a little bit based on what may or may not need to be moved, but you're all in right there at 395,907.65 if you did all 3 of those.
395,000 roughly.
Mr. Bill, where would this money come from? What would be your suggestion?
Qualify for qualify for SPLOST and the ARP funding.
Are there any grants available?
Not to my knowledge at this point.
I haven't been able to find some. I'm usually on the hunt for those. And since this happened, yes, I have been on the hunt for it. I haven't been able to find any at this point.
So the estimate was given on 5/9 and it's good for 30 days?
Yes, and to touch on that, that is due to the volatility of the steel market right now. The biggest vendor I have there is the tower manufacturer, and they're only quoting 30 days. I can go back and get another quote in 30 days, but they are only holding it regardless of who it is right now.
Well, there's one on here with a quote on 5/10, so I guess we could go with that one instead of your 5/9.
Yeah, no, there again, we're not gonna pick it, but yet, just to understand the volatility of the market, none of the vendors for anything's holding, because it's changing on a daily basis.
And what's the lead time?
Lead time right now from the date of order is about 10 to 12 weeks on the steel. There again, understanding 2 things need to happen here. Should you guys decide you want to move forward with the project, we need to immediately get the engineering companies in, do the prerequisite work, get it approved. Then once yes, we're good with the state and the federal government on permits with FAA and everybody on board, then we place an order. So there's probably a 2-month window of getting all the prerequisite work done before we can even place the order on it. But once we have an approval, then I think we've got leverage to go back to the manufacturer and lock in something with a down payment or something of that nature. So I'll work with you any way possible, but it's just on short notice. All the vendors are real hesitant to give you long-term lock-ins right now until you get some sort of commitment with them.
All right.
Well, I think this is my day to table everything. I'm gonna put a motion on the table to table this since we have a 30-day period and the time frame is gonna be 10 to 12 weeks anyway. And I'd like to table it until our next meeting of this month. That'll be within the 30-day time, so we can do a little research on it.
What other information would you like
Some
me?
grants. I mean, just look and see if there's any other funds, anything that we might can.
That's what I was gonna ask. What other information?
And we'll research on our end too to see.
From where I'm at as a vendor,
Yeah.
the other thing that I can look at is we do have some financing companies that do municipality communications funding. I'll be more than happy to go out to them and see what they could offer. It's obviously gonna be competitive on the business rate side. I think in the last that we did, they were pretty creative with the government municipalities. putting it out on annual payments rather than monthly, so it can be budgeted. So I'll ask for those options and get you something prior to the meeting back to you, if that helps.
2 weeks, so if we could do that, and if we could look for any other possibilities, and Michelle, if y'all could look to see if there's anything.
Okay.
All right, we have, thank you. Anything else?
Madam Chair, I will second the motion on the floor.
Thank
Have a
you.
second, all in favor?
Thank you for y'all's time.
Thank you, appreciate it. All right, next, Work Source Georgia Three Rivers Regional Commission Program.
Chief Smith is here to talk to the board regarding this. This is a very excellent program that we're interested in participating in.
Okay.
Madam Chair, Board Commission. What I'm requesting is for us to partner with WorkSource Georgia. But this is basically a program for underprivileged youth that we can recruit from within the county or within our zone. And WorkSource Georgia pays for everything. What this does is allow us to put them through our training. And if they meet the requirements at the end of them, we could possibly hire them. And we can put them through the training at no cost. We can blend them with our recruit schools. This program could also work with any of the departments in Merriweather County. But basically, what we would get is a person that we would train and allow them to either possibly come to work for us or get certifications to work elsewhere. The program pays for the course material. They pay for their salary up to 480 hours, which is more time than a recruit school takes. They pay for their uniforms. They pay workers' comp on them. And we have no obligation at the end of this to hire them. Basically, we can evaluate these people for the training. If they don't meet our requirements, we don't have to hire them. As a matter of fact, we can dismiss them if they don't abide by our rules. So we're under no obligation to them. If they come in, they've got to go by our county rules, by our fire rules, and meet the standards. We do, and with that, they have to be 18 years old. They have to have a GED. There is one cost that would be incurred on us originally, and that would be the physical and the drug screening, because that's a requirement to become a state certified firefighter. Other than that, they would show up, go by our rules. At the end of it, we've got a possible person that we could hire into the department. And this allows us to we're starting our recruit school the 16th, but we can only hire the amount of people that would fill those positions. With extra people added to this, if we have people drop or quit later, then we've got a pool to pull from. I just think this is a winning opportunity for us. Y'all have any?
And you said our cost would be the drug screen and what?
The physical. And I've actually talked to them about that. We may get reimbursed for that, but they couldn't give me an answer on that. So right now I'm saying we would have to pay for that.
Do you have a limit on the number of positions you can have?
Up to 5.
Up to 5?
We can get five people. And right now, we've already got one that met the requirement in Warren Springs, but I haven't gotten in touch with her because I need to talk to y'all first to see if it's.
Is that annually or quarterly?
What is that, sir?
5 people.
5 in the program at a time.
Okay.
So they could put 5 in our recruit school. Then after that's over, they could put 5 more later if we have another recruit school or EMT school.
How long does a recruit school normally last, Alan?
About 8 weeks, 8 to 12 weeks, yes, sir. Our recruit schools run a little bit different than a regular weekly program. We run ours on shift. So they will work a shift, go to class for 8 to 10 hours. And then at night, they would be pulling time at the station, learning to drive the trucks. This person would not be doing that. They would not be staying at the station.
Michael, would we have to do anything in policy and procedure to accommodate that?
I have to look into it further.
Now, the other side of that is we could have them as a volunteer, and then they meet our requirements to be in the vehicles at that time.
That's a good question you brought up. Will these people, when you get them, will they be temps or will they be permanent employees? How will that work?
They don't even work for us.
They won't be working for us.
We're training them,
We're training.
and
Okay.
basically they will be going through the training, working on the trucks. But Workforce Georgia covers all the workers' comp. They're
okay.
for them, they're working
Once
for
they're
them.
trained though, then they could apply for a job with us
Yes, ma'am.
or anywhere else.
That's correct.
So we could flip it every 8 weeks and have 5 additional people.
Yes.
Get busy.
I agree.
If I could, I would. Is there any other questions or?
I don't have any.
I
Sounds
think
like
it's a great
Sounds like a
program.
great program.
Sounds like a win-win for us.
It does.
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
And allow the chair to sign.
Well, I'm not
And
sure
allow
what
the chair to sign.
the motion would be, but I'm ready to go.
You're allowed to move forward.
Move forward
just-
with the WorkSource Georgia Three Rivers Regional Commission program
Well, I'll make that in motion, Madam Chair,
and allow the chair to sign.
and allow the chair to sign.
Have a second?
I second.
All in favor? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, number 8, the agreement with the City of Warm Springs and Merriweather County Detention Center. This is an inmate agreement, and the change is needed because of change in mayor, I believe is what I was told. Yes.
This came from the sheriff's office this morning. I'm not sure who's
Howard
going
had
to,
to leave.
yeah, I'm not.
I'll make the motion.
I mean, we got to change it because of the,
Right.
Yeah, the sheriff brought this agreement in early this morning, asked the board to please review it, add it to the agenda and sign it. He said it was, due to, now there's a new mayor there, that way everything is in their name, because I believe their signature is also on that.
No financial changes or anything just because of that. So I make the
name.
motion to move forward and allow chair to sign.
all right, we have a
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Let's get that done.
That's right.
Thank you. All right, now we have a report from our county administrator, Ms. Irizarry.
Okay. Merriweather County Fire Rescue updated the ISO rate, our ISO rating was updated last week. It is still a 6X, but we're only 2.56% away from a 5X. So we're moving in the right direction. IT Office 365 is set up and migration is in process. Cotton Fair went well. There was great teamwork between the Sheriff's Office, Fire, and EMA. Public Works did a good job cleaning up around that area as well in the county portion. 17 animals were taken to the fair. Of those 17, 12 were adopted. So that was very successful for animal control as well. Public Works completed the bridge repair on King Creek Bridge, and GDOT has been notified to check it for reinspection to get that open and going. Public Works is also trenching the new water and sanitary lines for the Lake Merriweather RV expansion. I know Mr. Gay had said he would like to discuss the definition of home occupation in regards to a request, but I don't think that he is here. Is Mr. Gay here? Yeah. So, but that's all I have.
Okay. Report from our county commissioners. Commissioner Plant.
I just want to encourage everyone to participate tomorrow evening at the Roosevelt Memorial Airport for the 5:30 to 7 p.m. Lead Edge business after hours.
That is correct.
And is it the 90th?
90th, that's correct.
90th,
90.
that's why I was thinking, I didn't see it on here. And then Chamber of Commerce is next Thursday week at, in Warm Springs, and I believe the Merriweather County IDA will be recognized, so encourage everyone to participate in that as well. And I believe that's it from me.
All right, I was gonna mention those same two things, and I don't know if, as a county, if we're doing anything with the chamber annual event. You know, they haven't had it in a couple of years.
We just keep the spots like we normally do, and in addition to that, we usually buy tickets to any board member, Michelle, if they want to attend that event. Just let me know if you want to attend, and I'll make sure that they get you that.
Okay, so commissioners hear that if you want to attend, and then the thing tomorrow night. Ma'am? Oh, you do? Okay, all right.
That's good.
Oh,
Well, good. And I know last night at the Board of Education, they recognized, the teachers and parapros of the year. And I just want to congratulate Commissioner McCoy. His wife was the parapro of the year for Manchester High School.
that is exactly right.
I
Yes,
don't know who
ma'am.
the parapro of the year was for the county. I saw the teacher one, but I didn't see the.
Oh, I was there, but I cannot remember the name.
Anyway, but
be honest with you.
congratulations. to,
Right.
Thank
Thank you.
Tessa, that was good work there. I don't think I have anything else. Let me. And we all have the flyers on Peaches and the Pine, which is coming up, June the 11th. I think we probably have more flyers that we could pass out.
Can we put that online just to make sure?
We also have some out front that work well.
If you need more flyers, I've got some, but I'll let you send out first.
And I know we all have our information from the Keep Merriweather Beautiful Cleanup. Everybody should have a packet with all the numbers and all of that. We appreciate that, Miss Jane, and we'll be having a meeting this afternoon. Okay, we'll be at 1 if you. All right, thank you. All right, Commissioner 3.
I don't have anything. I think I've talked enough.
Commissioner McCoy?
Well, I think I'll make up for it. You're absolutely right. I'd just like to say one other thing about the airport. There'll actually be, I think we're going to do a little groundbreaking ceremony there tomorrow just to illustrate what's coming with the new hangars. You know, there's 10 new T-hangars being put in and 3 inline or essentially maintenance hangars that will be going in down there. And I was told even today that every slot in the T-hangars has been rented and a deposit has been made. So we're moving quite well with that. The AWAS that we talked about is probably pretty soon to be operational down there. I was talking to Skipper there, and he's saying the power will be there Friday or Monday. And I'm understanding the instrument package and all has arrived, so we'll have AWAS at our little airport here shortly. For those of you that don't know what that is, it will actually be transmitting in the blind. You can get all the information you need down there on weather and airport status and all that sort of thing, which will be great for us. This week, Monday, we were over at Diverse Power. Skip and I went over and sat down and talked with Randy, and I can never remember Randy's last name, their little engineer that seems to be leading. Shepherd, that's right. That is leading the charge as far as broadband is concerned. And specifically, we were looking at the airport, and they're going to give us a dedicated line and probably come down Crowder Road, but they're not quite sure yet. But that should be happening just in the next couple of months or so. And they were very interested in, what they could do there and what could be developed around there. And we were telling them, that's one of the areas you're probably going to see something happen is around their airport there. So that seemed to have their attention. Yesterday, Michelle and Theron and I got to eat lunch with Jeff Bishop and go down to the river. The river ramp folks they'll be starting construction down there within, I think, 30 days. It looks like it's going to be very close. They're bringing the folks up, and we were looking at aligning the new ramp that's going to be more perpendicular to the river than what we have now. So at least that's moving forward. And if y'all haven't checked out the little shop that's down there that Cody and his mom are running, you need to go by there. That is a nice little facility. They're already moving canoes and, well, hello there, Theron. Didn't know you were in here. And they're already moving people up and down the river in canoes. And so I think that's it's a great thing that's taking place. I've got some custodial things we're going to be doing for Peaches and the Pines, but it's already been announced, so I'm not going to worry about that. One other thing that I probably should have done after Miss Jane and I went and met with Southern Rivers, we probably, Miss Beverly, need to get the contact name out there and have our people that are being served by Southern Rivers call and put their name on the waiting list, because that was something they were asking us to do. Probably put it on our website, and that way people can at least see that it's out there. And not this August, but the following August, they're hoping to have all of Merriweather County or all of their area covered here. With that being said, Madam Chair, I'm through.
Thank you.
I do want to say one thing that I missed. Everybody, don't forget that May 24th is the election. Early voting is there now, so everybody get out and vote. Those candidates need your vote to get into office.
I know Mr. Gay came in and you wanted to talk to us a little bit about the home occupation. And I know we have a need for executive session, and Commissioner Threadgill has to be gone by 11. So can we do it pretty quickly to talk about, and where we can move on to executive session before he leaves? Okay. Thank you. Good morning.
With all the way that things have gone since COVID, we have a lot of people trying to figure out ways to, to be able to occupy and do things at home and make money and run businesses. And so we've had a lot of questions that come up, things that we haven't faced in the past. I had a gentleman yesterday I talked with again for the second time, and he was interested in being able to sell products from his home, stuff that he would order. So you would call him, say, hey, this is what I'm looking at. He would secure the product for you and distribute it out. Well, at first I thought, well, I don't know exactly how we're going to be able to deal with this. But as I looked at it again yesterday, we actually have a residential home occupation category that says direct sale product distribution. And it has examples listed of Avon, Tupperware, etc. And I think the reason it has those things listed is that at one time is what people did order and sell from their homes. Today, people sell computers from their home. This particular gentleman was interested in having a firearm license and being able to sell that. He would not have anything on the display, would not have any signage, would not have anything, even no inventory. What he would do was it would be a custom order, kind of like if I ordered some Tupperware, when it came in, I pick it up or he gets it to me and I pay him at that point. Different products with computers and other things, but I do think it's the same basic concept. And we can't write everything into our regs of what's allowed in home occupation. We do have things that are not allowed, and I understand that. But you can't have a list of 1,000 things that people may come up with. So what I was just wanting to talk to the board about is just in our interpretation of it, that we expand that level of being able to allow things as a direct sale product distribution beyond the Avons and the Tupperwares and the things of years ago, to allow other products to be ordered and brought to the home and then sold to the person who ordered more. So
there wouldn't be retail space there or anything. There would not be employees. It's just that person.
Just that person.
The homeowner.
Right. Just that person. No employees there. Really can't even have any signage or anything out. I mean, they could advertise on the internet like everybody else does, but no signage there. Nobody would be coming to their home to look at stuff. There'd be no displays, no anything. It's really just a custom. Hey, I know that you're in this business and I'd like for you to find this for me. And once it comes in, it goes forward and he distributes it just like the Tupperware that came in. So it's a matter of just interpretation of what fits into a direct sale product distribution. And I understand the Tupperware, I understand that, but like I say, computers, other stuff, I think fits into that category too. And maybe when we update our codes next time around, we'll change that language a little bit. That's been in there since the codes were written. So, it just needs to be expanded a little bit. So
is that something you could get together, even by our next meeting, some wording of how we would suggest, if we want to change that, what we might use?
Yes, we could just, all it really has is examples. as it's written now, we can use it.
Okay,
It's just an interpretation of what goes into that category. Now, it specifically says, you know, like on home occupation, you can't have a wrecker service, you can't work on cars at your house, you can't do this, you can't do that. But the other sales products are not. And, you know, so it's really a matter of interpretation. But what I would suggest is that we remove or broaden that, examples,
those.
yes, of what we've got. And I can do that. If we're gonna change the code, we'll have to advertise or whatever. But I don't really think that it takes a change. I think it simply
You're
takes
just
a
adding to the-
interpretation of the categories.
But to sell Mary Kay or something like that, I wouldn't think you would have to have a license indicating that you are selling at home, but with anything dealing with guns, you have to have a license.
You do.
We have to have it.
So by that, is it really comparable, or do we have to have a rezone to have an actual business license within a residency area?
Not if you have within the residency area without having to do it, you have home occupation and rural home occupations. And they allow people to have, again, small things in their home. If you get really big, like we had a zoning case here where, you know, I think last meeting where the person was wanting to grow their business beyond what's allowable. If a person that has a resident home occupation wants to grow it beyond what's allowable, they'll have to go out and have a commercial site too. But if they're going to keep, they're going to meet the other rules, which says, you know, you only use a certain portion of your home, you can't bring employees in, only people who can work there is people in your home. They do have to be licensed. To me, that's sort of one more, double check that others are doing too.
Well, I know a license is required for that, but would we need to do something, Michael, like a special use for that area, just so that it's?
If they're in compliance with the rest of the reg, then you're okay.
As long as they limit it to just.
If somebody is selling Tupperware or whatever, I mean, they have to have a business license still.
Yes, they have to have a business license, and they would have a business license. It would just be a business license for home occupation. And
are the other things stipulated in there, like, you know, about the signage and no employees?
Yes.
Is that already?
it's already in the ordinance. It's already in the ordinance. What the ordinance does, it lays all that out and says, these are the allowable uses. And it says, these uses are restricted. Well, you know, it's got direct sale product distribution. And then it says, for example, it gives those other categories. But again, this thing's probably 15, 25 years old. And, what people sell today and what they can get delivered to their home to sell is a whole lot different than, the Tupperware days.
So do we need to do anything on that, or do you want to bring this back?
I can bring it back and
Bring
just
it
go.
on, just what else we may add to those
Okay.
items listed? Can we just
Okay.
do that and do it on the 24th?
Sure, we can
All
do
right.
that. Okay?
Thank you so much.
Bring it back. Thank y'all.
All right, report from our county attorney.
I have no report. We do have a need for executive session for litigation and real estate.
Okay, anything else? All right, let me go ahead and read off our future meetings. May 24th, 2022, we have a work session at 4 p.m. That will be followed by our regular meeting at 6 p.m. And May 30th, 2022 will be the Memorial Day holiday, and county offices will be closed. At this time, can I have a motion to go into executive session for litigation and real estate?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? All right, we're in executive session. Motion to go back into regular session.
So moved.
Have a second? All in favor? All right, there was action taken during executive session. Can I have a motion to allow the Board of Commissioners to offer for public sale parcel ID 048A039 that was obtained through a tax sale in 2008?
I make a motion to accept.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any other business to come before the county? Hearing none, can we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? We're adjourned. Thank you. And Bearville